Biker Dad is brought to you by UpstateBikerLawyer.com and Tom Schimmerling, founding member of the National Academy of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Have you ever sat at your job and thought, what if I just got up and left? Tell that horrible boss to take this job and shove it. Have you ever wanted to just walk out? What about burnout? Well, that's exactly what I did, but I didn't just quit. I left my 25-year corporate career to ride motorcycles and tell your story. Daytona Beach, Florida, where you can actually drive onto the beach. Rick Fairless, a legend of his own, introduced me to Richard Rollins, Mayfield, Kentucky, Southeast Missouri, beautiful city of Knoxville, Tennessee, Gulf Coast of Mississippi, the Florida coast and the Tampa Bay area, Orange County Choppers, Roadhouse and Museum, talking to Paul Tuttle Sr. himself. But make no mistake, this is not a show about motorcycles or even about me. Instead, I travel across the country to meet the people who use their passion for motorcycles to make their communities stronger, safer, and better. This is Biker Dad. I'm on the road here in Everett, Washington. It's used to be a small town outside of Seattle. It's kind of a big town now. And why am I here? To tell you the story about this thing and how this got me riding motorcycles. Some of you out there probably don't even know what this thing is. It's actually a newspaper. Old people like me remember these. This specifically is the Everett Herald, and one day I was standing pretty much in this spot. It was 1987, so that'll tell you how old I am now. Hanging out here with probably 5 or 6 of my friends on our bicycles. Probably had my Huffy Sigma out here. This guy rolls up and he goes, "How would you like to get into the exciting world of newspapers?" What he really wanted was some kid to do slave labor and drive around the neighborhood and deliver a couple hundred of these every day. And they needed somebody who was 13 years older. You probably figured out by now that I'm a little bit entrepreneurial. What I did with my first month of paper route money was about 250 bucks, I remember. And I went and bought, not a motorcycle, a Nintendo, the very first NES, the one with Super Mario Brothers. And then a kid moved in down the street around the block and he loved Nintendo and he didn't have one. But what he did have was a bunch of dirt bikes. So I would let him come to my house, that's my old house right there, and play Super Mario Brothers and Metroid and whatever else with me. And then we would go down to his house around the corner and ride motorcycles. He wanted a Nintendo, I wanted a motorcycle. And then I think it was for Christmas or his birthday, his parents bought him a new motorcycle, a nice Honda, whereas he was riding a 13-year-old Hadaka Dirt Squirt. And so I traded my Nintendo for his Hadaka Dirt Squirt. And that's how it all started. Well, we learned to ride in these woods back here behind this house, and we found a junkyard. And it turns out that guy was also into dirt bikes, and he'd built a motocross track in his junkyard, and we got to go back there and jump our bikes off of old junk cars and crazy stuff like that. We're gonna take a spin around the neighborhood and show you some of the spots I was talking about. This is where we built all the trails and learned to ride dirt bikes back in the 80s. And I can even see houses through the woods there now, so there's almost none of that left. One of the really cool things is they got it all blocked off here. There's a little dirt road back here that leads to a creek. Used to ride back there and catch crawfish in the creek. And this is my buddy Cole's house, or it used to be. Now it looks like more like a compound. But they had a big property back here, and where all this grass is used to be dirt basically. And we just rode motorcycles here all day long and then took off into the woods, and his parents were lucky. His parents were nice enough to just let us use their yard to tear it up with dirt bikes and then go ripping on down here through the woods and go wherever we wanted all day, every day until it got dark. That's all we did is ride our dirt bikes. One of the reasons it made me stick with riding instead of Nintendo, I went to school. I remember talking to some girls in PE class. I told them I traded my Nintendo for a motorcycle and they thought they were really cool. I remember this one girl saying, "You're a man now." And that was it. That was all about motorcycles after that. On the road in Seattle, Washington, and of course, since I'm here and I'm riding, it's threatening a little bit of rain. I usually try to ride wherever I go, but sometimes that's just not possible. I have to fly or take a train or whatever else. So when I do that, I still want to ride, and when I want to ride and I don't have the motorcycle, I check out Eagle Rider. They hook me up with a bike. I wanted to give you a little bit of behind the scenes idea of what goes into renting a motorcycle. And I also ran into a guy who flew all the way here from Great Britain to take the ride of his life.
My name's Alan. I'm the GM of Eagle Rider Seattle. Providing dreams, making sure every person that walks through our door is satisfied with the experience here at the store level. I mean, obviously being on a Harley or two wheels in the handlebar, everybody's going to enjoy their time regardless. From start to finish, we want to make sure that every customer has the best experience possible. We get a lot of international travelers coming in, fulfilling their dreams of getting on two wheels across the United States. We've got a lot of open highways and expansive network of roads and things that a lot of other countries simply don't offer. The infrastructure is not there for it, so this is a beautiful way to just keep going, keep riding.
Hi, I'm David Brockhurst, coming up from the UK on holiday. Well, I've flown over the Rockies so many times, I just fancied coming here and getting a Harley and riding back across, and today's the day. From Seattle down to Yellowstone, then Yellowstone up to Sturgis, then Sturgis probably down to Salt Lake City, and then back up to Seattle. Eagle Ride's just been so easy. Booked it online, turned up on the day, you saw a few minutes and then out here and ready to run. It's fantastic. As I said, we've done wife and I have done lots of holidays over in America, usually on bus tours. Now to get the real thing. As you can see, it's got pretty much everything I want. It's got sat-nav, plenty of room for storage, and hopefully nice and comfortable. Yeah, get those 3,000 miles behind me. Just experience the Rockies, American roads. Let's get on there, let's do it. Yep, as soon as I got packed up, and that's it, I'm off.
Off he goes.
This is his first trip to Sturgis, so I know he's stoked. I asked him what, he told me he was married. I asked him why his old lady didn't come, and he said she doesn't ride motorcycles, so he's flying solo. So I'm sure that's going to be a fun experience for him. No ball and chain, no tethers. Motorcycle endorsement is what you're going to need. A credit card, as well as the willingness to get on the open road and just ride. Other than that, closed-toed shoes. That's a plus. Pants.
A lot of good. Couple minutes to get rolling, right?
That's it. It doesn't take more than 15 minutes in my shop. We like to get people out on the road as fast as possible. Nothing slows down your ride like filling out paperwork. So we try to make that as seamless as possible. We want to get people on their bikes and out on the road without any hiccups or issues.
And that's just exactly what I did. Eagle Rider hooked me up with this Harley-Davidson Heritage Softail. Heritage Softail is one of my favorite bikes to ride, and this one's set up for adventure. That's what I did. I went on an adventure and put almost 500 miles on this beautiful bike in just a few days. And that's one of the great things about renting a bike too with Eagle Rider, is that the mileage is unlimited. So when I brought back the bike with 500 miles, they didn't even blink. If you want to go on your dream motorcycle trip and want more information on how to rent a motorcycle, go check out eaglerider.com. Hi there, this is Chris Best, the Biker Dad. I'm just here to let you know that myself and the hundreds of thousands of people who follow us on social media and watch the TV show are here to help. Do you need help with something? Give me a call. That's my number right there, 251-402-6392. Especially if you need legal help, I have an army of lawyers across the country who can help you with injuries after motorcycle crashes especially, but other stuff like crime and everything else too. So give me a call, 251-402-6392.
I was involved in a serious accident with a drunk driver. It was actually a wrist injury that had really came from the accident. I do promotional modeling for motorsports. I also actually race semi-professionally as well. I had 3 surgeries altogether. Because of the accident, I actually haven't raced in about 2 years. So I knew Tom Schimmerling from previously. Tom Schimmerling was easy. He did everything for me and made it, very seamless. I was very satisfied with Schimmerling Injury Law and the settlement that they were able to get me.
Biker Dad is brought to you by UpstateBikerLawyer.com and Tom Schimmerling, founding member of the National Academy of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. So why is it important to you to support a cause like that?
As American, so deeply affected by 9/11, this is a particular event is run by motorcyclists, by bikers, and I've always been very active in representing people that injured in motorcycle accidents. It's been something that means a lot to me because I had a very, very dear friend died at an early age in a motorcycle. He was only 15 years old. I was 15 years old, and ever since then, I've had this affinity towards motorcyclists.
Well, thank you for doing that. And again, the ride is on September 7th, is that correct?
September 7th, Saturday.
In Rochester, New York. So if you're watching this in Rochester, that's awesome. Come on down. But you're watching in Elmira or Syracuse or here in Binghamton, you can also ride up there too. And just if you can't make it all the way up to Rochester, just also know that I think on the same day, Southern Tier is their Tunnels to Tower ride, which is also a big deal and something that you can get involved in if for some reason you can't make it up to Rochester.
I'm not 100% sure it's the same day again this year, is it?
It was last year, but I'll double check that.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It almost seems like it might be in early August, but...
Yeah, because last year I came to Tunnels to Towers because you were up there, so it was on the same day, or at least the same weekend. We're on the road in Everett, Washington, the place where I grew up, and we're on Broadway in downtown Everett at this place called Motorcycle Goodies. It's an awesome place. It's been here for almost as long as I've been alive, and let's go check it out.
My name's Steve Breakdown Miller. This is my shop. I got my nickname Breakdown from all my Triumph motorcycles back in the 70s. They tended to break down a little bit. Working professionally on Harley since '78. Service manager at 2 dealerships. This is my second shop. We've owned it for 15 years now. This shop's been in Everett for 46 years now. Pretty unusual for any store to be around for 45 years, let alone a little motorcycle shop in Everett. Actually, in the state of Washington, if you're talking about per capita, we have more motorcycles per capita in Snohomish County, and put your star right here in Everett, out of the whole state of Washington. So we've got a good clientele, and if you do a good job, they'll come back and tell their buddies. We work on Harley Davidsons, mostly Harleys. That's been my experience.
That's a Triumph. So
that's a Triumph. Well, I own it, so we're going to get it ready for sale. Yeah, I was service manager at 2 different dealerships. Did that for many years. My partner over here, he's worked at this shop for over 30 years. Say hi, LD. Hi.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
I'm the third owner. It was started by Fred Smith, who actually owned, 2 dealerships, Skagit Harley, Bellingham Harley Davidson. He owned this shop here, and then one in Oak Harbor. So he had 2 aftermarket shops and 2 dealerships. And then Harley came to him and says, "You have too much control over this area," and made him sell. He wound up selling his shop up in Bellingham to one of the banditos. He wasn't all that happy about it. George did a good shell game. Fred had no idea who he was selling it to, actually. But he was a passionate biker, which is we need more passionate bikers owning dealerships. But yeah, I was going through one Thanksgiving or Christmas, sitting around looking at some family albums, and I come across some motorcycle pictures. Turns out from the teens and the 20s. I had no idea. But yeah, there's motorcycles in my family, that's for sure. Here's a bike right here I'm building for myself. Haven't built a bike for myself in a number of years. This was an Ultra with all the fairings and radios and saddlebags and tour packs and all that sort of stuff. So I'm trying to do things different types of mounts up here, different type of mount for the headlights.
It's kind of got a soft tail look going on the front. And what year is this?
It's a 2011.
So it's got a 103 in it. It looks like you're making that a little bit bigger than a 103.
No, it's actually going to be a hot 103.
Cool.
And then on this, I powder coated the engine cases, trannies, inner primary gloss black instead of the matte finish that we have.
So just for those of you who don't know, to give you a little perspective, this is what like some of us younger people would refer to as a geezer glide when it was started. So it had all of the crap on it, the stereo.
Geezer glide that you ride now, right?
Yeah, I have a geezer glide. That's one of my bikes. Big tour pack, big bags, but stripped it down, and that's gonna probably.
This is what's underneath that big bike.
That's gonna cut 100 or so pounds off the bike, I'm guessing.
A lot.
So it's gonna make it a lot lighter.
It's a lot lighter. 1947 knucklehead. This is how we built bikes back in the 50s, 60s, even up to the 70s.
So tell everybody why it's called a knucklehead, or show them.
Because this right over here looks like a knuckle. Looks like your fist. That's where it came from. Before that it was flatheads. And even when this was being built, they were still building flatheads. These two really get me. This is actually my grandmother. This is my grandmother. That's my grandfather. I believe it's in Long Beach, so I'm not really sure. It's kind of a barnyard type of thing. But you can see, here's the bike. Now, look at this little girl is sitting on. See this little calf with like a roller skate. Back here is our service area. We do a little bit of everything Harley. The oldest one we worked on last year was 1929. The newest is 2023. And then out back we've got a storage area. All bikes come inside at night. And that's our shop.
So we're pretty much in downtown Everett, right? Close to it?
Yes.
And so I'm sure this building's probably a couple hundred years old, I imagine, or
It's 50s, 60s.
okay. A lot of the stuff around here is pretty
Yeah,
old.
we got a few extra parts. They tend to accumulate.
Yeah, pull off parts and stuff like that.
Well, then people, let's say somebody has a motorcycle, doesn't have it anymore, and they're moving. You know, they don't want that stuff anymore. So I wound up getting a lot of stuff given to us.
And so that's where you live back there?
Yep. Yep.
That's pretty cool. That's some real biker stuff right there, where you live in your shop. You're really living it. And so what's next for y'all?
Retirement. Want to buy a shop?
So what are you gonna do with this place when you do retire? You got somebody else?
After I leave, who cares? No, I want to see it pass on to the next generation. I'm the third owner. It's been 45 years, and I'd like to see it last for the next generation.
Biker Dad is brought to you by UpstateBikerLawyer.com and Tom Schimmerling, founding member of the National Academy of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers.
We love Tom, but let me tell you this about the Upstate Biker Lawyer. He is giving, and very caring. He's a generous man. In fact, I don't have the right shirt on.
Oh, I don't either.
Shirt. He is our sponsor for the 12th year for the annual bike run, and I've already hit him up for the 13th year.
So he is officially our very first sponsor for the 2025 13th annual bike run.
So we love him.
Yep, great guy. So I had an issue, and he called me up. I never called him. He called me to make sure that I was okay. So great guy all around, whether it's professional or personal. And then you've got Christy over there, and she's just like the arm candy. Her hands in so many things.
Thanks, Biker Dad.
Somebody will ask me what we do, and I honestly can't tell you because we do so many things. Carol will rip them up. We do this, and this. I'm like, oh yeah, we do. We just do it. We just try to be decent. We don't need a thank you. We don't need anything in return. Everybody needs a little help every now and then, and if we can help that one person, then that's worth it.
Hey everybody, we are 60 for 60, the Mohawk Run, and you're watching Biker Dad TV.
Ride to eat,
Eat to live, live to ride. The Pacific Northwest is just one of the most beautiful and diverse places to ride in. You could be riding through skyscrapers and then literally minutes later be riding through skyscraping mountains. There's beautiful water everywhere. The mountains can be seen from any point of view.
I've been all over the country on a motorcycle, and America is beautiful, but the Pacific Northwest is one of those rare spots where you can be in the city, in the giant city with all its problems and its troubles and political strife, and then literally less than an hour and just minutes be in a place like this that seems untouched by man, just beautiful Mother Nature. We are in the Cascade Mountains in Washington State. If you're quiet, I think you might be able to hear something. Definitely think I could smell something. This is the land of Bigfoot, the Sasquatch. Remember Harry and the Hendersons? This is where they found Harry.
And late summer is the best time to come and visit the Pacific Northwest because it is the dry, warm season. This is one of the most rainy places in the world, but this time of the year, it is just unbelievably beautiful.
Up in the mountains in the middle of nowhere here in Western Washington, and we ran across this, the 59 Diner, and of course, let's stop and check this place out. The 59er Diner is literally out in the middle of nowhere in the mountains along Highway 2. I found out that actually back in 2016, this beloved landmark burned to the ground. It took years for the owners to get the restaurant back to its 50s glory, now serving up handmade milkshakes, 50s music and memorabilia, and a whole lot more. It was even featured for its cheese sticks on diners, dives, and drive-ins. We're here at the Mika Motorcycle Auction in Las Vegas with National Academy of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers and founding member Tom Schimmerling, UpstateBikerLawyer.com. Tom, you were here last year, right?
No, I've been here before. It's the first time.
First time, so first impressions.
Amazing. It's like thousands of bikes, thousands of people, 1915, 1918, just phenomenal, really.
Yeah, 120-year-old motorcycles and some pretty new ones too. So what's the coolest thing that you've seen?
The old ones. I like the antiques to begin with. I had one that looked like it was in mint condition, but it was like another 1918, 1915 bike. It was in India, and it was just stunning. It really was.
When you come here, you walk through and see all of this stuff. What goes through your mind? A little overwhelming, right?
It really is. It's just hard to focus on one bike and see like this now. Another one. That's a beautiful bike right there.
Oh yeah.
Turquoise bike.
It looks like that's a Harley Softail. It's a beautiful bike. What's really cool about that one, you can't unless I get up there and look at it, I don't know if it's a 1958 or a 2008 because that's the classic Harley look right there.
Biker Dad.
That destroyed in the 80s that are now sitting over there for thousands of dollars. In New York, Biker Dad is brought to you by Upstate Biker Lawyer and Tom Schimmerling. Hi, this is Chris Betts, the Biker Dad. I've never been in a major motorcycle accident, but I know if I do, Tom Schimmerling and UpstateBikerLawyer.com have got my back. One of the really cool things about the Pacific Northwest and the Puget Sound are these things right here. That is the Mokilteo Ferry, and there are ferries just like this all over the Puget Sound. But one thing I've never done on one of these is ride a motorcycle, and we're gonna go do that right now. yes, I'm on a motorcycle, but I'm also on a boat.
I'm George Makins, Clinton, Washington. Clinton is the first stop off the ferry on Whidbey Island, right at the edge of the highway, sleepy little town. Live close to the ferry terminal, take my bike every day. The ferries, it's really cool being on a motorcycle because you get to go in front of everybody. If you look behind you at all the cars, you don't want to be sitting in that line, especially if your motor's running and everything's getting hot. You get to be the first on and the first off. I usually take the 440 ferry to work in the morning. We get about 50 bikes in here and it gets pretty loud. I work at Boeing, I'm an engineer. A lot of people on the cars, they tend to take the main highway from Clinton all the way up to Oak Harbor and then across Deception Pass. A lot of people don't know you can still get to the north end on a lot of side roads, and it's really cool because there's a lot of twisties and it's a lot more open and you're not worried about people in front of you. You do have to look out for the wildlife. We do have a very large deer population out here that tend to come out and just sit there and stare at you. But like they say, loud pies save lives. I've been riding West Washington about 40 years. I really like the different landscapes and the different places that you can go. Whether it's going over the mountains and riding in the desert, going down south a little bit into Oregon or along the coast, riding on the peninsula, you have different challenges, different environments, and one thing we like to say, you can't let the weather stop you here because you will learn how to ride in the rain. But it's not often that a lot of people can say you can see whales and all the sea life out here. We've actually have stopped the boat a few times because of a pod of orcas and other whales coming through. You get to watch the nice boats. It's just beautiful out here. And the crisp, clean breeze coming off the water. Lots of beaches. They're not the typical beaches people normally associate with next to the water.
Of an obstacle course. Down here to the water. Now here's Sleepy Beach like you find in Alabama.
And lots of beauty.
Deception Pass from Whidbey Island back to the mainland in western Washington is just one of those places you have to see, you have to ride on, unless you're afraid of heights. It's a little bit unnerving to be standing up here this high, even looking over my shoulder. This camera is just making me a little bit queasy. This is one of the most beautiful places that I've ever seen, but I'm also extremely anxious. My fear of heights and my fear of getting run over by a car are pretty much dueling right now.